I'm here with Susan Rotchy, who works for the Independent Living Centre in Concord, and I'm going to ask Susan to talk a little bit about herself and introduce herself. So over to you, Susan.
Hi, Nick. I'm Susan Rotchy. I am the Executive Director here at the Independent Living Center in Solano and Contra Costa County. We serve two counties. I am a spinal cord injury. We lead by example here at the center. I was in a car accident in 1996, so it has been over 20 years, and I'm paralyzed from the waist down at a T12 injury complete. And I do use a manual chair, and occasionally do use a power chair when it rains, as it is today. So that's a little bit about myself.
And Susan, what specifically do you do at the Independent Living Centre? What's your role?
So I'm the executive director, so I run 3 offices in 2 counties, and we have several programs that we have here. We do a lot of core services. Our core services consist of systems change advocacy. And what that is, it entails, is that we teach consumers how to advocate for themselves, is one of the biggest roles. And we also do benefits. We help our consumers understand the different types of benefits that a consumer would be eligible for once they have a disability, whether that is state disability, whether it is Social Security disability, or it could be SSI, which is still Social Security, but it is disability for someone that may have not worked and earned enough quarters. One of the other things we do offer here at the center is independent living skills, and it could be anywhere from just getting out of the hospital and realizing acceptance, and doing budgeting, and learning how to ride public transportation, or learning how to get resources so you are able to go back to work. And working with Department of Rehabilitation, we do a lot of work with them. And we also, some of the minor things of, how do you go out in the community and start going independently and shopping for yourself, whether you have an attendant or you do it alone.
Susan, what's the best way to get in touch with your organisation?
So you can call our office. We are online. We do have a website,
Okay.
www.ilrscc.org. And we are here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Okay. And obviously you've lived with a spinal cord injury for a number of years now, over 20 years. Anything that you've learned, anything that you do you'd like to share with the audience here?
I can tell you, when I first got injured, I cried every day for 5 years.
Yeah.
Back to school, there wasn't a day I thought I could do it. And I look back now, 20 years later, and I did it. Life does go on. You still have a family. You can go to work. You do not have to live in poverty. But, the biggest thing is you yourself have to make a change. You yourself have to make a change.
Yeah. And what kind of fun things do you do now? What type of things do you like to do when you're not working?
I'm not working. So I'm a quilter, and I'm a beater, and I can still play my piano. I play the piano before my injury, and I play my flute. But I also do some activities, not a whole lot. Skiing is great. I've done it a couple of times. I've done scuba diving. I have done some sports, not very many, because I'm not very good at sports. I was never very good at sports before my injury, so I really struggle. But I do swimming. So you can join a gym and do some swimming. So I have, done some swimming. So there is a lot of things you can do. I still go on trips, go to Vegas, go to San Diego, go to DC, go to Chicago, so you can live an independent life. Is it different? Yes. Do you need support? Yes. And I mean by support, it could be, someone helping you, like whether it's a stranger or your family member or your care provider, but it can be done. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Susan, I'd like to thank you for taking the time. I'll let you get back to the important work that you're doing there in Concord, and we'll be communicating to our audience about the good work you're doing, and I'm sure some of them will be great to get in touch and keep leading by example. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Information and referral. ILRs could be something as simple as looking for housing, looking for resources that you need to have your home modified, or possibly looking for a manual chair that you may need temporarily, a power chair, or even hooking up with organizations that are local. It could be some of the social service programs that we have in our area. Whether it's food stamps, whether it's in-home support services, getting those referrals to the consumer so they can live independently.
Okay.
Another core service that we have is a peer support group. Mm-hmm. We do offer peer support because we are people with disabilities, or we have at least personal connections with people with disabilities. So we lead by example at my center. Over 51% of my staff are people with significant disabilities. So we do lead by example, and we offer a lot of peer support because we have been there. We also have some peer support groups. We have some spinal cord peer support groups, as well as we also refer them to local peer support groups, which it could be a stroke survivor, it could be a traumatic brain injury, or even mental health. We also offer assistive technology. Our biggest program is AT, which, let's say you only need a walker temporarily, you need a manual chair, a power chair, commode chair, shower chair. We actually have a loan program that you can borrow it until your insurance company comes through with the product that you need to live in your community, especially right after you get out of the hospital. We also have a registry, a personal assistance service, where we teach our consumer how to, really interview your personal aide, your personal care provider, the kind of questions. We have a small survey that you can, and a questionnaire that you ask your personal attendant while you're interviewing, and having the right match. We also do a lot of housing referrals. A lot of times we do serve mental health as well as people with physical mm-hmm. disabilities to help them find shared housing or permanent housing. Also, one of the other things new up and coming is our youth program. We're very excited about our youth program, and that is where we do a lot of outreach at the high schools and at the community college, so we can capture the young youth where, they can really learn independent living. I mean, really honestly, they can go back to school, be employed, be self-sufficient, and not have to live in that poverty level. There is a life after a disability.
So, Susan, maybe can you give me some specific examples of what you've done to people with spinal cord injuries, or how your organization can help these people achieve independent living?
So, we have a peer support group. And we meet every third Tuesday of the month, mm-hmm. and it is in the evening from 6 to 8. And one of the things that we do is we help a lot of new injuries. We have a lot of people that have been injured a couple of years. So they have some, they're able to offer peer support for those new injuries, SCIs. Because, when you first get home from the hospital, mm-hmm. first of all, you don't really know what kind of vehicle, or if you're able to drive, that you should get. You really don't know that there's services out there to go back to school, right? We talk about that. And in our peer support group, lots of times one of the big components is finding accessible housing,
right?
And how we modify our homes, especially if you're renters. Like, where do you go from, and where do you start for your family? Mm-hmm. Sometimes people have to actually move out of their apartments after a spinal cord injury, they can't go back home, especially if they live in an upstairs apartment.
Right.
And so we do offer a lot of those services for them, and and also ways of learning how to dress. Ways, another way that they may have learned in rehab that maybe, you have a physical therapist showing you how to get dressed. Well, they can still move their body. So you aren't having a para or a quad come in to show you how to dress, right? Yeah. And that's really what we are here. We tell you tricks of how you can dress. There's some attire that you can purchase online that is for people in wheelchairs, people with spinal cord injuries, with small physical limitations that you can dress. So there's a lot of tricks of the trade that we learn in our group setting.
Yeah,